So recently, Netflix just released a full 12-episode season of Record of Ragnarok, and if you're someone who came from the manga, the one word that instantly comes to mind is and even if you have no prior knowledge of the manga at all, one look at the premise and you would still think every 1,000 years, all the gods and goddesses hold a meeting to decide A. to let humanity live on for another 1,000 years, or B. to completely destroy them right then and there. So after some discussing, consulting, and watching a few TikToks, they're all just like, yeah, there's no hope for humanity. Who did the asteroid last time? Could you get him, please? And then long story short, a Valkyrie lady shows up, calls the gods pussies, and now humanity's fate is going to be decided via a tournament arc. It's the ultimate showdown between gods and humans. We got gods like Zeus, Thor, Black Butler, and Milk. And then against them we got other iconic figures like the Chinese legend Lubu or Naked Adam from the Bible. It's God versus man. It's one iconic figure versus the other. The concept is so straightforward and it knows it. There's no beating around the bush. It's straight into beating the shit out of each other. It's always asking the questions: who's going to fight? What abilities do they have? And who's going to come out on top? And listen, we all know why we're here. We just want to see two overpowered cool guys duke it out in a battle to the death. Nothing special, and the show delivers just that. Everyone has their own powers and abilities, yes, even the humans. Don't worry about it too much, but what you should be worrying about are the fights. On paper, the whole thing is built up to be as hype as possible. We got loads of iconic figures who are also chads and have overpowered abilities, and that is a formula for creating hype ass fights. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Naked Adam fist fight with Zeus? It's cool and it hypes me up just thinking about it, but only on paper though, because the anime does a subpar performance of delivering the amount of hype that the manga had, and this is due to a multitude of things. First of all, for being a fighting anime, it has hardly any fighting in it. Episodes are filled to the brim with flashbacks, constant shots of the audience, and useless dialogue, which drags out episodes to the point where there's barely any fighting. I mean, they took half an episode on Adam and Zeus's entrances, just the act of them entering the arena. Why is it trying to pull a One Piece on me? But you know, maybe I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Honestly, I like the flashbacks because it gives me insight on the characters, which in turn makes me care for them. And there's a lot of useless dialogue and dragged out scenes, but maybe the fight in the end is worth the wait. But coming into the fight, be like,
show me what you got. Show me what, just move. If you got no one, just move. It's all I want to see, some movement. I'm not seeing enough movement.
the fights are incredibly underwhelming and lackluster. Scenes aren't properly ramped up. There's tons of opening frames followed by direct cuts into impact frames, kind of like throwing a basketball and then cutting directly to the scene where it lands in the hoop. And a lot of the time you can't even see the actual fighting, but just a bunch of pretty quick movements, or tons of scenes where they're just punching air, or some faraway long shot of a giant explosion. Quick movements, punching air, and giant explosions don't make for impactful fights. If you're going to show quick movements, at least add some auras or mudas in there. Don't show me them punching the air, show me them punching the opponent. And if you're going to show me a giant explosion, at least show me the guy actually swing his hammer to make said explosion. I can go on and on about the animation, but the overall gist of it is, the animation is stiff, it's lazy, and it looks like it was animated by someone who didn't know how to animate but knew how to use the pan and crop tool and Sapphire plugins. And it's a shame that after all the useless dialogue and dragged out scenes, that the payoff is so underwhelming. I'm not one to think that animation is something that dictates whether a show is good or not, but for an anime that's only about fights, and more fights, the animation kind of has to be good. But okay, Record of Ragnarok's animation is by no means bad, but it's not amazing either. It's just very meh. And coming from the perspective of someone who stopped reading the manga midway to experience this series through the anime, I'm just really disappointed, because you could really feel the hype that came through the pages of the manga, and it would have made for a fucking hype ass anime. But the anime absolutely failed to encapsulate that. Not because they failed to follow the manga, but because they followed the manga a bit too well. You see, in the manga, you still have everything I just talked about. You got the useless dialogue, the dragged out scenes, all that. But it works because it's done in a way that works for the manga. What takes the anime 1 hour and 20 minutes to do can be done in the manga in half that time or less. You can really easily quickly read over the useless dialogue in the manga, whereas in the anime you're forced to sit through it because they don't cut some of it out. In fact, why are they cutting out some of the cool parts and leaving in some of the useless parts, like when this guy gets sand in his mouth? Did we really need that? No. And the fights in the manga actually have impact because the art is amazing. What the manga can't do in animation is made up for by the amazing art that makes you feel the intensity of each scene. The anime didn't fail to adapt the manga, it followed it pretty well, but it failed to adapt the manga into something that works as an anime. They need to change some things from the manga to make this work in anime format. The pacing is way too long and dragged out. There's way too much telling and way too little showing. It's a fighting anime. Stop showing me the fights through the audience, stop making half episode entrances, and show me some animation, show me some sakuga, and show me some fights, because that's what I'm here for. Now, time for the real question. Can you still have fun watching this? Ultimately, yes. If you don't mind the slow pacing, useless dialogue, and subpar animation, then you could still have a fun time, because the anime still has some good qualities. The music is pretty good, the voice acting self-explanatory, and they absolutely nailed the designs of each character. Thor is so cool, Poseidon is so cool, everyone just looks badass, muscles look like muscles, and then there's this. Now I know where all the animation budget went, but the thing that kept me watching the most was definitely the plot. Just the idea of myths, legends, and historical figures battling to the death over the fate of humanity alone is enough to keep things interesting and keeps me thoroughly entertained. If you just want to chill watch, then you can watch the anime because it's still pretty fun, but if you want to experience Record of Ragnarok at its best, then you should probably read the manga because that's where the good stuff is. But in the end, we get what we want. We just want an excuse to see two iconic figures battle it out in the ring. We want to see and predict who would win in a fight, and win or lose, it doesn't matter, because what matters most is that these titties probably had more impact on you than any of the fights anyways. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm still a little bit salty that this could have been so much better. Like, it could have been so good, the potential this show had as an anime. Oh, I'm so disappointed. But anyways, if you liked the video, then please like the video, and if you have anything you want to say, then feel free to leave a comment. I reply to those, and if you want more videos like this one, then please subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and it makes me happy whenever one of you subscribes. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.